Frieza. All right,
So if you're unfamiliar with the Act Man, he's one of those gaming YouTubers. They're growing in a vat somewhere. Listen, I watched a lot of JonTron in 2011, but even I can't deny that Rockington and his consequences have been a disaster for the human race. Now everyone thinks they can make nuts and bolts. JonTron can't even make nuts and bolts anymore. What chance do you have? Anyway, you know the drill. The Act Man is a YouTuber for normies with a 1 million sub fan base, so you can take a wild guess as to the videos.
Yo! I ain't gonna lie, this video starts, yo, chat. This video starts off kind of hostile. Like, Joseph basically comes straight out the gate swinging. Like, I did not see that coming. He said, yeah, like, Joseph comes right out the gate, like, being completely dismissive of this other gigantic YouTuber who, again, I don't know his fucking opinion on Yu-Gi-Oh, but I just, usually that's not, like, that's not the tone you take, you know? I just find it interesting.
Hard text too long. Game too complicated. Does anyone else for kids lay censorship? Has anyone here watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged? Why are you permitted to activate interrupted kaiju slumber while there's a kaiju on field? The prohibitive effect of existing kaijus is almost identical to the text on there can be only one, and yet it's out of greed. Okay, I might have slipped one of my own in there. It's not even a predictably bad video. Like, it's got all the trappings of this.
Did he just say his video sucks? Yo, press 1 if MBT spitting. Did he basically just say, Act Man, your video sucks? Like, usually that's what you want your audience, like, you want to imply it, but you don't want to just say it. You want your audience to come to that conclusion. But like, whoa, MBT breaking all the codes
in there. It's not even a predictably bad video. Like, it's got all the trappings of this. But it's also got some weird grievances.
Oh, I don't know. I thought everyone was kissing his ass. Okay.
That I have never heard another person vocalize. There's some pretty rudimentary editing errors.
Fit the dark theme of the story's plot. Initially, dual monsters.
And he's included like 7 minutes of footage lamenting how irrevocably broken the game is because Predaplant Chimera Rafflesia is strong and Gravity Bind don't work no more. Despite completely disagreeing with him on a fundamental...
I mean, that's just power creep. Like, it is what it is.
Level, I can't help but feel at least a little bit of sympathy for the Act Man. I know this video was like his white whale, something he felt like he had to do, and it got so big, so unfocused, and so out of his control that he had to upload some version of it just to get it out of his head. The end result is a directionless ramble that jumps around pretty much at random between the show, the game, a bunch of Yu-Gi-Tubers disagreeing with him, and rants that would have been overplayed in 2011. So is this video just one more in the established canon of dumb bitches confused by Pandalham monsters? Yes. But it's also something a little more important. It's a cultural barometer that we, as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, can use to measure how normies see our hobby. And hopefully it can also serve as a roadmap as to how to get more people on board with dual monsters. This is a joke from his video.
So that's a good way of looking at it, is we can look at Act Man's video and see, like, how do normies look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Chat? Like, the person who used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2007, they ran Monarchs at locals, probably weren't like super good, stopped playing, and now they've forgotten about Yu-Gi-Oh! And like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! That's still, what are these blue cards? Those aren't rituals? Why do they have numbers? What is a link? What's a pendulum? Like, how do those people think of Yu-Gi-Oh! But I feel like, and I feel like we don't have to sell those people on Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore, chat. And do you guys want to know why? I'm gonna tell you why. I think there's two things that like are supposed to be the mechanism for that. Does anyone know what they are? What's an exceed? Exactly. Like I feel like I don't feel like Konami has to pander to them, or we as content creators. Does anyone know? DM. Well, you got the letters right, just reverse them. I think what is supposed to do that, chat, is Master Duel and like Duel Links. I mean, you could say Master Duel, maybe not as much, because Master Duel is not like dumbed down Yu-Gi-Oh! It just is Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what I mean? It has less cards, or it doesn't have the new set, but like it's still got fucking Sprite in it. You know what I mean? It still has Sword Soul full power. It still has, you know, DP and Adventurer. So like I kind of feel like if you want to bring in normies and stuff, I feel like Duel Links was supposed to be that, chat. I think Duel Links is probably like super convoluted now, but Duel Links was supposed to be that mechanism of, I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! When Man-Eater Bug was good. Like, cool, play Duel Links and have your skill card, have your skill effects, and only 3 zones, and you get the set man-eater bug combo, you know? And now we have, like, Master Duel. So, I don't know. I don't know if we really need to placate the normies. Anyways.
I would never be cringe in my own work. Whoa, this is the most incredible scientific discovery yet. Have you heard of ovipositing? As I'm sure you're all familiar with by now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Did not start as a card game. Originally, Yami Yugi, the spirit of the pharaoh, took over Yugi's body to punish evildoers using shadow games, usually ironic tests relative to their crime, and then would banish them to fucking hell when he inevitably won. One such shadow game included a card game modeled after Magic the Gathering. People ate that shit up, and after repeating that shadow game a few times, the publisher decided, fuck it, and restarted the series with duel monsters as the main focal point of the story. Suddenly, we've got a pretty big problem. The game, basically designed to be a Magic the Gathering ripoff, now has to have rules, has to be playable, and more than anything else, has to be balanced. The Duelist Kingdom arc does a pretty good job of explaining why this is a poor base from which to build a card game. The rules aren't ever fully explained, cards just sort of do whatever they want, and often it plays more like a tabletop than like a card game. The story is still interesting and compelling, but the associated product isn't. Then, in the second arc, Battle City, an in-game character says, "We are now following the rulebook," which coincides with written instructions for the in-real-life game. Finally, we have arrived at Yu-Gi-Oh! And it sucks. The first few years of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game are bland as all hell. A lot of summon Law Jin and
I can't. I know MBT has this opinion, chat, that Yu-Gi-Oh! Became playable when Gladiator I just no. Look, I'll agree. Maybe if you want to say DM specifically, like, yeah, playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, but this is like, no one played the game then. Like, no one played this game, chat, like, LOB format. Like, you're going to a format that's, like, so prehistoric. Like, no one played that. You know what I mean? Like, go play, like, mid. Go play, like, Dark Crisis when you have, like, all right, you got DD Warrior Lady, Tribe Virus. Like, that's not quite Go format for the record, chat. But, like, you have interesting effect models. You have Genzo and stuff. IOC format. IOC take it a little too far because you get Chaos Emperor Dragon, and that is like Chaos Emperor Dragon is like literally a game ruining card. So I was gonna say go to like Dark Crisis. You have good tribute monsters, you have interesting effects, you have wild effects like Fiber Jar and stuff, but it's not this. You know, like this is not a good representation of what DM is, chat, of summon whatever the fuck this is, attack face down, man-eater. Like that's not, and I don't like that idea that that's what DM is. He speaks as if Yu-Gi-Oh! Was competitive, or excuse me, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was as competitive as it is, or as it was now, as it is now. I'll say it was as competitive as it was now. Should be is. I mean, the Shonen Jump circuit, chat, didn't start until 2005. Do people not know that? Like, the Shonen Jump series, chat, the Shonen Jump circuit started in 2005. LOB came out in 2002. So yeah, the first 2 years, or especially the first year of the game, isn't super insanely, you know, interactive. Especially like the first 3 sets, but
and pass, followed by this, followed by this, followed by the first.
Hey. Like, I'm sorry, but if you get Yada a lot, like, where's the rest of the duel? So if you're gonna tell me, oh, the game's broken because, yeah, like, all right, well, show the rest of the duel where you like got out card advantaged and out skilled and stuff like that. If you're just going to use this as an example, like, you can look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Now and it'd be infinitely worse. Again, you could show a flute player doing a combo and the other player just scooping, and it's like, that's not better.
First good format, GOAT. But because the game was designed from game
I'm sorry, it's the most, that's the most normie take ever, that you should have a sit down. No, because the problem with that just comes off as like a person who all you played was GOAT. Like you just hear GOAT's the greatest thing ever just because everyone says it. Like, that doesn't make it true. Oh my god, I'm sorry.
One, to be a Magic the Gathering style ripoff, the gameplay reflects it. Despite a lack of lands, games are slow. They're wars of attrition. Flashy combos are few and far between.
That's
the
true.
format might be good, but there's nothing giving Yu-Gi-Oh! An identity distinct from its source material. Then, finally, in 2008, something changed. Yu-Gi-Oh!
He's gonna start talking. Okay, first off, 2007 was a significantly better year, chat, competitively than 2008. I just, people need to know that. Like, if this argument is like, oh, Glads came in and archetypes started being, do you now know about like Big City, Diamond Dude? Now hold on, these are not archetypes, chat, but these are wildly interesting decks that have like completely unique identities. Perfect Circle Monarchs, Diamond Dude Turbo, Baboon Burn, Big City. What's some more? Machines, Demise OTK, CO Burn. These are all decks from 2007. Like Troop Dupe Scoop. All of this is from none of it's from 2008. 2008 is like Phantom Darkness, chat. That's when Power Creep got like through. I think 2008 is it's like Phantom Darkness, Light of Destruction, Duelist Genesis. Gladiator's Assault is actually a 2007 set, by the way. I think it's the last one.
Stumbled upon two things: the first modern-style combo deck in Dark Armed Dragon, and the first successful archetypal deck in Gladiator Beast. Over the next decade and change, Yu-Gi-Oh! Design would mostly retread these two design principles. Archetypes prevent decks from looking samey by rewarding specific decks with broken tools, and flashy combo decks available from the beginning of the game finally differentiate Yu-Gi-Oh! From Magic. You can start spell slinging the second you sit down. No awkward 3 turns of land pass required.
This is also not true. Like, chat, was Diamond Dude Turbo not a combo deck? What? Like, Diamond Dude Turbo was playable in 2007. In fact, Airblade Turbo was arguably tier 0 in the OCG, which is, he just said it was. No, but he's saying in 2008 that this is when combo decks, like, started being playable, but, like, that's not true. Hold on. Maybe I just missed what he said. Hold on. I'm gonna listen to this again. Cap, make it. No, I'm not gonna make a drama video. Stop.
Then, finally, in 2008, something changed. Yu-Gi-Oh! Stumbled upon two things.
Okay, so you just said something changed in 2008. That would imply that it was not present before.
First modern-style combo deck in Dark Armed Dragon, and the first successful archetype.
That's not true. The first modern-style combo deck in Dark. That's not. He's talking about Dad Return. That wasn't the first modern like what is T-Hero, chat? Like, what is that? T-Hero was built by Terasak Poon Sabat. That's where they got the name from. It's often referred to as the Destiny Hero Beatdown. Do you guys like not know what that deck is? If you guys don't, hold on. I'm sorry. No. Cool. Oh, 2007. Shocker.
In the aftermath of GOAT format, it was actually played at times, even.
I'm gonna 2x this. You should have taken a 6-minute detour to explain. No, it's not about taking a 6-minute tour about T-Hero. It's he didn't learn history. No, it's just you don't make a claim if it's not true. Am I overreacting, chat? It'd be like if you said, and the first black president was Ronald Reagan, 1984. Like, no, that's just not accurate. I'm sorry, like, it's not. You can't if you make a claim and it's just not accurate, it has nothing to do with like a 6-minute. What's it called? This is very dumb. This is a very dumbed down yeah, that's not the point though. That's not the point. Like, as a historian, you can't. No. You can't just make a blatant mistake and just be like, well. No. Like, I don't know what Joe Gerlando says in this video, chat. I haven't watched it, but this is like T-Hero. Hold on, I actually want to see what he says in the introduction. Hold on.
So we're going to continue talking about troop dupe format. Talk this time about a deck that's actually going to run Card Trooper and at least one copy of Machine Duplication. That is none other than T-Hero, specifically T-Hero, in and around the time of the U.S. National. So we are going to assume that we're looking at the time period, perhaps even the day that Adam Cord won, maybe for that tournament itself, acknowledging that at that point in time, T-Hero was really popular. Perfect Circle, not so much. In terms of Destiny Hero variants, Magical Stone Excavation was limited to 1, so not so much for DDT. Obviously, Monarchs were important. They won the event. But then also acknowledging that within the last month or so, Matt Peddle had top 8'd the Canadian Nationals with the Machine Aggro or Machine Beatdown deck that we are going.
That's the oh my god. Machines was built to, not to get off topic, chat. The Machine deck was built to counter this deck. This deck was wildly popular. Anyways, hold on. Let's just look at, like, what's it called? Like, does this not look like a, I mean, does this three Destiny draw, 2 Brain Control? That's wild. Metamorphosis, Snatch Steal, MST, Machine Duplication, Limiter Removal, Scapegoat, No Mana Crossout. Like, this is a combo. What's the combo? It's kind of freeforming. So Yu-Gi-Oh, even in like Dad Return format, Atenza, it's not like traditional Yu-Gi-Oh now. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to make an M board. That's not how Yu-Gi-Oh was played. But going second, it was, I mean, T-Hero is an example of a deck that, like, you could look at your hand and a combination of like 3 or 4 cards and just kind of figure out how to kill your opponent, you know? And with like double Brain Control, Snatch Steal, just take their monsters. So it's more control. No, it's not a control deck. No, it's not a control deck. Did you just hear me say the word OTK? That's not what control, like, Monarchs is not OTKing you. That's control. T-Hero was not, like, this is not a control deck. Hold on, I was trying to show you the traps. Like, hold on, I see 5. Why do you think there's 5 traps? There's very minimal traps in this deck. This deck is like gas, gas, gas.
Incredible job counter.
And the traps are like Crush Card and Ring and insanely powerful. Like, this is not a control deck, bro.
Acting this deck. That's an incredibly combo-centric deck that needs...
Oh, hold on. What did you just say, Joe?
Machine decks that did an incredible job counteracting this deck. That's an incredibly combo-centric deck that needs key monsters.
It's extremely combo-centric deck? Is that what he just said? Press 1 if not convinced. Still not a combo deck. Not convinced. Still not a combo deck, Cap. It's not a combo deck. Even though he literally said combo... See, look, I know what you guys are saying. Chat, you guys are like, Cap, you're... I don't like when people make claims about Yu-Gi-Oh! History, chat, that just aren't true. And it frustrates me when it's from, like, a Zoomer. Like, if it's like Stevie, I don't know how long he's been playing, but if you've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For like 2 years and you make a claim that, like, well, actually, Zodiac is the most skillful deck, like, how do you know that? You've played like 3 formats, you just started playing the game, have you played all, like, just, if you're gonna make a claim, just don't be wrong. Don't be wrong in a way that I can, like, easily disprove. So to say, like, oh, combo deck started working in no, they didn't. Like, here's an example. The year before, this is a deck that was created in 2007, and it's a combo deck. So, all right, I'm off my high horse.
Typal deck in...
You're strawmanning really hard, to be honest. What's the strawman? I'm just refuting what MBT said. He said that combo deck started working in 2008, but that's, like, not true. Didn't he say Dimension Fusion to Swarm? I mean, you could play Dimension Fusion and Diamond Dude in 07. Dimension Fusion is from IOC, I think. He said modern style Yu-Gi-Oh! That's also, yeah, but that's also not true. Because modern style, what is the definition of modern style Yu-Gi-Oh, chat? Modern style Yu-Gi-Oh is, okay, you guys tell me if I'm wrong or not. Modern style Yu-Gi-Oh is turn 1 build a board. Would we agree, chat? Or can we not agree on that? You're arguing semantics instead. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so modern style average. I want to get your definition. Is modern style Yu-Gi-Oh build a board? Because that's what I would say. Sprite builds boards. Sword Soul build a board. Like, you pretty much know the key monsters you want to end on, right? Don't let your opponent. That's like subjective, because people will tell you that tier let you play the game. No, I'm not gonna, like. I think modern style Yu-Gi-Oh is like building a board, but that wasn't what Dad returned. Hold on? Do you want? Let's see if I can prove this. By the way, because I don't want you guys to think I'm just making shit up. Come on, let me access the website. Don't be like this. All right, that's fine. This is 2000. All right, this is Glad format, so I'm not supposed to call. Avarice, where did you? No. I'm sorry. Now I'm stuck on this. Avarice, where did you go? Where did you go? Because you're like, we need to define, if you're saying like we need to define like what are one of the key aspects of modern Yu-Gi-Oh chat. I feel like board building is definitely one of them. Modern style is making a giant board that requires jumping through a black hole, deflecting. Okay, this is a joke. My point is that you're focusing on the word 2008. He literally claims Gladiator's Assault came out 2008 instead of late 2007. Yeah, but he's my point, Avarice, is that he's making this like distinct point of Yu-Gi-Oh started to become good and interesting in this year of 2000, and like that's just not true. If you're hold on, Dad Return. This would be early 2008. This is Glad Beast. Actually, hold on. I want to see if I can find the Tier 0 Dad Return deck. This should work. Chris Pervic versus Lazaro. Let's see. Hopefully Lazaro went first. Fuck. I'm gonna see if I can find a, what's it called? Lazaro activated. Lazaro captured the first. Damn it! Don't tell me. Oh god, Lazaro 2-0'd him. Hold on. Let's find Lazaro versus. Okay, here we go, chat. Here we go. Right, and I don't want to zoom in. Jesus won the roll and started with a set card in each zone. Wait, what? For someone who started with features, Jesus. I'm pretty sure this is a Dad Return mirror match. MBT didn't even play in this format. Who cares? I mean, that's my point. Hold on. Like, I want you guys to understand. There was this idea that, like, in 2008, we all started building boards and having Omni. That's not fucking true. Like, it just isn't. It just isn't. Like, I'm trying to demonstrate, chat, what a standard opening turn was. This is Dad Return format, chat. Tier 0 deck. And players are like, let's see. Lazaro dropped Reinforcements of the Army to search for Stratos, but lost him immediately to Mind Crush. Allure Darkness came down next, and Lazaro removed Genzo from play to complete the effect. Another Rhoda hit for Lazaro, and he searched Disc Commander. He's probably going to D-draw it. Disc Commander was pitched for D-draw. Lazaro got 2 more cards for his troubles. He had 1 Dart Monster in this graveyard, and Armageddon Knight gave him a second. He's maybe trying to set up for Dad. So he dropped Dasher in the graveyard. Lazaro set a Speller Trap, then attacked. He attacked the set Disc Commander before passing. Press 1 if super strong board you built there with a Tier 0 deck. That was his turn 1, chat. That was his. Now, hold on. Here's the point. Does that sound anything like current Yu-Gi-Oh? Chat, does that sound anything like current Yu-Gi-Oh? This is the if you're telling me Cap G, you're trying to cherry, you're strawmanning. This is 2008. This is Dad Return. Does that sound anything like current Yu-Gi-Oh? And current Yu-Gi-Oh, you 100% would have been OTK'd. Sword Soul would have been like, Mo Yi, reveal Vishuda. Bro, I'm like halfway to game. Yeah, a current. Okay, no, that's not even true. Because Magicus, under a current Yu-Gi-Oh game, if you brick and just set a monster face down, chat, are you or are you not getting OTK'd by like almost any deck in the game? Yes, sir. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. In current Yu-Gi-Oh, if you just like set 1 card, you're getting OTK'd by like everything. Everything. First off, we don't even set anymore. Setting is not a part of Yu-Gi-Oh. Who sets? If you brick, you probably just pass and like hope your opponent thinks you have nib. Like if you just set a card, chat, against like Sword Soul, you're getting OTK'd. You set a card versus Despia, you're getting OTK'd. Set a card against Cash, like you're getting OTK'd by any deck. And like, I mean, granted, he got Mind Crushed and he took his Stratos, but like he didn't die. Like this is nothing like 2008. It's nothing like what current Yu-Gi-Oh is, chat. So even if you're going to use that as the argument to why I'm wrong, that doesn't work. And by the way, this guy won the YC or the Shonen Jump 2008 until like Synchro 6 Sam. Are you talking Stormer? Are you talking about Shien? Because that came out in Stormer Ragnarok, which was 2011, I think. Yeah. The 2008 Six Samurai was the John Moore build, but there was no synchros. Hold on. Combo decks usually spent several turns, often building up resources, right? I remember Saber format, yeah, you're talking about 5Ds, being super slow, besides people saying it was a spam fest. Yeah, I mean, they were combo decks, chat, but like combo back then, pre-Zexal, was way less explosive than it is now, chat. It wasn't just like you were OTKing every single turn one. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm off my height. That's a pet peeve of mine, chat. I'm sorry.
Gladiator B.
2008 is the point where Yu-Gi-Oh! Completely splits from Magic according to MBT, and that's the point. I mean, I guess. If you're saying it got faster?
East. Over the next decade and change, Yu-Gi-Oh! Design would mostly retread these two design principles. Archetypes prevent decks from looking samey by rewarding specific decks with broken tools, and flashy combo decks available from the beginning of the game finally differentiate Yu-Gi-Oh! From Magic. You can start spell slinging the second you sit down. No awkward 3 turns of land pass required. These design goals were represented in the anime.
Okay, I get that argument, but you could do that the year before. And I'd have to look up 2006, but probably the year before that also.
As well.
That's all
Different characters in GX and beyond play archetypal, combo-oriented strategies, and archetypes become a shorthand for a character's personality. Which brings us to today. And mostly...
the complaints.
So when people make these videos, oh my god, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is ruined forever, trust me, someone who watched an episode of the show before I developed object permanence and then made this video 20 years later, they usually complain about these things.
That's completely true, chat. That is completely true. The people who make the Yu-Gi-Oh! Is terrible videos are usually people who enjoyed Yu-Gi-Oh! 15 years ago, quit Yu-Gi-Oh! For like 10 years, came back, played 2 duels, didn't like it, and now they're like, the game's terrible. Antoine Griezmann? I was thinking more of that girl with the red hair who like it started the Magic channel, but no, in general, that's kind of no. It's not. No. It's usually not Sladra. It's usually not people who are like still usually act. It's not people like me, chat. People or even like Yu-Gi-Tubers who they've been in the game for like 10, 15 years and now they're just fed. No, it's usually people who like they played the game a long time ago. Like try hard. Any of you guys know try hard? Like literally try hard. This guy. Oh, what? You can't use try hard anymore? Him, yes. He made a video about like why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is terrible now. But it's like, yeah, it's not the same as when you played the game like 8 years ago. Like you haven't played the game in a decade. Of course you're not going to like it anymore. It's going to be, what's it called? I like the show. Why isn't this like the show? It's like brains a little bit, I guess.
Thanks.
Yeah. I don't know, I quit during Dragon Rulers and came back, and honestly, I like the way the game is played more now than Dragon Ruler Lamau. Well, Dragon Ruler is a very divisive format. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has changed. Give me a Kiba in the chat if you changed, Yu-Gi-Oh! You changed, man.
Yeah, I mean... Duh. This is the one we hear the most, and it shocks me because it can only come from the type of mind that can't eat chicken nuggets unless they're shaped like dinosaurs. When you played Yu-Gi-Oh! In the schoolyard, you were probably doing so with an incomplete understanding of the rules and a card pool composed of commons you pulled from a vending machine in Pizza Hut.
Note the self, never piss off MBT. Jesus!
Back in the day, it was hard to find cards. You had to scour eBay or Gathering Grounds or Mike Loda for the privilege of buying a single rare card for $10. These days, access to cards is good enough that even kids can make something decently competitive just by using their lunch money. If you've got an...
This is completely true, by the way. Chat, when I was a teenager, the only way to like actually get Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards was to go to like a card shop or to just try to like, you could go to maybe convenient or not convenient stores, but like big box stores like Walmart or Target, and just hope that you RNG pull whatever you needed out the booster pack or the booster set. But there was no fucking like TCGplayer.com. It wasn't like, oh, you can just spend $1 and get a play set of I don't know, some random Tri-Brigade card to like build a fairly decent tier 2.5 deck. Like that didn't fucking exist. There was no like TCGplayer.com or any of these like aggregate websites where you could just like get cards for cheap. Those didn't exist.
Issue, take it up with the passage of linear time. It's 2023. Sonic the Hedgehog is in theaters, Mario's nipples are out, and a 7-year-old is beating your ass with a $6 Flu-on-Deriz bill. Yeah, you're right. As card games age, it's hard to think of new cards that do shit that no other card has done before. There are a couple of ways to solve this. First, if your card game is designed for limited play, you can stuff boosters with bad cards that are a boon to players in draft formats. Second, if your card game has set rotation, you can print similar cards for new formats or lower-powered versions of existing cards. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have either of those things. As a result, every single card in every single set has to be both powerful enough for people to feel good dropping cash on the new set and do something that no other card has ever done before.
Damn. You know what, Chad? Now I feel bad about criticizing R&D. Holy shit, I didn't think about that. Like, he's not wrong. Yeah, I mean, now I just feel kind of bad about like all the shit that we give to R&D. Like Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have set rotation. It's not like you don't get cards that are made for specific. Like Yu-Gi-Oh cards are made to be played forever, and the people who make cards, they have to like think, okay, we have 10,000 cards. My job today is to come up with a new one, and it has to be good that people want it. Otherwise, they'll bitch about it. Oh my god! Press 1 if poor Jerome. We owe Jerome an apology, chat, for saying we owe him an apology for shitting on War Rocks. He was just doing his best. Priority is dead. No, it's just that's serious, chat. That's a fun like. You want to create new cards. You know, they don't want Puri to just work exactly the same as some other deck before it. Like cards have to be new, interesting, be different than prior cards, and they still have to be good, otherwise we won't play them.
That's Explode crazy. Is out of control. Here's a graph of the amount of words on average a card has over the years. Of course, it's not really as bad as it seems. A lot of the words on cards aren't important. For an example, let's look at this clip from the Act Man's video.
This is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. If you boil this card down, it has a summoning requirement. It has 2 effects when it's summoned, and 2 effects while it's on the field, and an effect when it goes to the graveyard. 1 card that does 5 things.
He says there's way too many effects on this card, but there's really only like 1 effect you need to keep track of as part of a board state. The remainder are summoning conditions. Even actual effects like piercing or hard once per turn are common enough phrases that you'll just be able to
I'm gonna be honest, I know this card is the cover card of Soul Fusion. I couldn't name this card for $1 million. Fusion Quantum Dragon? Again, I know it's the cover card of Soul Fusion. Soul Fusion's an awesome. I have no idea. Like Disco Talker Dragon Fusion? I don't
game
know.
after a few games. Still, I think this is one of the best criticisms of Yu-Gi-Oh! Deciphering a game state and playing optimally is really hard. I think that's okay. I'd like to reward skill in onboard decision making, but it can certainly be intimidating for new or returning players. Sidebar before we move on, please stop showing these cards when you're talking about cards that are too long. These cards are not good. You look unserious. There's plenty of long-ass cards that saw play. You don't have to make them up. This one's nuanced. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an exceptionally complicated game. If you're a Magic the Gathering player, I'll explain it like this. We only really have one format and its legacy, and that comes with all the same baggage. Corner case rulings and finicky weirdness from 2001 does matter, and it comes up a lot. Learning how to effectively wield the text on Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards...
What does that mean, chat? So, I don't play Magic, chat, and I know almost nothing about Magic, but like, what MBT just said, dumb that down for me.
One does matter, and it comes up a lot. Learning how to effectively wield...
Like, just put it in context. And, like, I guess Yu-Gi-Oh! It's... Legacy, all cards are... Is that the competitive format for Magic the Gathering? Is that the format they play? I thought Magic had set rotation. All cards are legal. Ask Shatner.
You really have one format and its legacy?
No. We use every card ever... And we have weird rulings from GOAT. from GOAT ruling we use today. Do the rulings change though? Because I mean, I guess that kind of happens in. Oh, you're saying the rulings never evolve. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying the rulings never evolve? Because I was going to say in Yu-Gi-Oh, the rulings change periodically. Are you saying like the rulings from 2001 are like grandfathered in and they never change? Is that it? Magic has 5 competitive formats. Casual format. Modern is most competitive format.
And that comes with all the same baggage. Corner case rulings and finicky weirdness from 2001 does matter, and it comes up a lot. Learning how to effectively wield the text on Yu-Gi-Oh cards often feels like learning a new language. But like a language, once you're fluent, you really do have the ability to use your knowledge to navigate anything your opponent has thrown at you. However, what people claim is complicated about Yu-Gi-Oh usually isn't. Here's the fast effect timing chart. This can be simplified too. If you have reached an open game state, the turn player has the first opportunity to activate a quick effect. Missing the timing can be simplified to optional trigger effects cannot trigger if they meet their condition during a chain resolving. Hand traps are just monster effects that discard themselves from the hand to the graveyard as part of their activation cost. Hearing these complaints feels like hearing people complain about the rules of Monopoly. Oh, so when you land on a property owned by another player, you have to check the card to see how much you owe. Though you owe double rent if they own all the property. And if they have a hotel, this whole thing goes out the window. Oh, and God help you if the property's unowned. Like, yeah, don't worry, the rules cover this. To me, a large part of Yu-Gi-Oh is using your ability to decipher game states to manage massive outplays over opponents who aren't paying as close attention. Yu-Gi-Oh isn't like all games in that it demands your full attention at all times. And that's one part of it that I really like. Mostly I hear this criticism from people who learned the rules by watching the anime. Obviously, that's not going to work. At some point, you're going to have to read.
Yo, serious.
This is a take I didn't believe existed until I watched the Act Man video. Let me play you a clip.
Hey kids, would you rather play the deck with the giant sea serpents, freaky fishmen, and hot mermaids? Or a deck that's based on French and Italian desserts or animal sounds?
What's the point, though? I hated this part. You're talking about Act Man? I mean, but what's the... hold on. Is he making the argument that like every deck aesthetically needs to look like Eldritch, or every deck needs to be he hates? Yeah, I'm just like, what's the compelling argument here? Is like cute is bad? Like you can't like Puri is bad because it's just a little cat. Basically, it's like the life of the life and the day of a cat. So Puri bad. If it's not edgy, then it's bad. Literally cute is manly. I mean, I kind of get if you're saying, well, Madoches is not just cute, but it's like people being desserts. But again, we have 10,000 cards. Like, you're going to run out of ideas. It's not even running out of ideas. You're going to have to create new stuff. Like, I mean, you know, it took us forever to get a pirate archetype.
We went from menacing insects and hordes of zombies to cars? And
all right, this is his. He just made his argument worse because now he's just saying like, I've heard people say this, Chad, but it's the same type of people who complain, like the people who I play Go format and that's it. They just say, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh's gotten too cutesy. You know, why can't all the art just go back to being edgy? Every card should look like Pumpkin Lord. Like what do you want?
An archetype on cars?
The story of Yu-Gi-Oh is pretty compelling. It's a millennia-long struggle against the forces of darkness using ancient weapons adapted with modern technology. It's a story about cycles, about fate, about genetic destiny, about the indomitable power of the human will. It's also about the fruitiest man in the history of time day drinking and watching cartoons.
No more white wine spritzers before bedtime for me.
Red wine.
Does he say that?
Merci, croquet.
Yu-Gi-Oh is a story about dichotomies. A generational breeding program spanning 10,000 years is almost capped by a guy from Brooklyn who likes rolling dice. The ultimate form of evil is trapped in the twinkiest frame imaginable and slung over someone's shoulder to beat a hasty retreat. A man consumed by hubris.
Grab that butt, Tristan.
Frame imaginable and slung over
Just a little higher.
someone's shoulder to beat a hasty retreat. A man consumed by hubris and ego is so enraptured by his own prowess that he builds a jet that looks like a Blue Eyes White Dragon. This is a goofy franchise. I personally found it exhausting that every Magic the Gathering set for years went to a new plane where the most important thing in the universe was happening and the most important people in the universe had to make the most meaningful sacrifice in the universe like 16 times in a row. I think it's funny that we have an archetype of evil plush toys. I like the lesbian VTubers who moonlight as jewel thieves. The unexplained Wizard of Oz Star Wars mashup archetype is hilarious.
You know, I'm just gonna point this. Not every group of girls is, I mean, they're twins. They're not lesbians. They're twins.
I think it's awesome that people who like epic, powerful beasts and people who like funny birds on vacation can both find homes in playable meta decks.
X summoning mechanic.
I think this one's just people being...
Pendulum. That's what literally makes... Yeah, I agree. I don't... If Yu-Gi-Oh's art... Chat, have I ever told you guys the reason why I made the transition... MBT. The reason why I made the transition from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh? Did I ever tell you guys that? It was very simple. It wasn't like super complicated or anything like that. The reason why I switched from Yu-Gi-Oh or from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh was because like it was my age range. Like Yu-Gi-Oh came out 2002ish, that TCG. I was 15, 16. Yeah, I was like 15, right around that age, chat. And like I was Pokemon, everything was still like cute and cuddly, but that's not what you want when you're like 15 years old, chat. Like I don't know about you guys, but most teenage boys, what do you want? Probably sex and violence, right? Like Yu-Gi-Oh started having more adult themed artwork, and that made me gravitate towards it. Now that's not to say that that's all I ever wanted for 20 years. So I'm glad that the art evolved.
Scared of cards that are a different color. I never really bought it.
You played Pokemon? Oh, so hold on. The interesting... I'm not going to grab the binder. The interesting thing is, chat, I never actually learned how to play Pokemon. I collected the hell out of Pokemon. I still don't know how to play the game. I mean, the video games, yeah. But the actual TCG, no. I mean, like, I've got a binder of just cards and cards and cards from my childhood, but I never learned how to play the game.
Fusion, combining two monsters to make a more powerful one using a spell card. Synchro, combining two monsters to make a more powerful one using a tuner. Xyz, combining two monsters to make a more powerful one using two monsters of the same level. Link, combining two monsters to make a more powerful one by summoning to an extra monster zone. Pendulum. Okay, I kind of get it.
See? Press 1 if I've always been right. I've always been right. I will never take it. Pendulum is a bad mechanic. It just is. The other four mechanics are perfectly fine because they're all basically just taking two cards and turning them into another card. Even Ritual's fine. Pendulum's not. Pendulum is like that one kid playing Mario Kart who turns around and drives backwards. That's what that is. The rest of the mechanics are fine. Like I'm not gonna be one of those like Link's bad at ruling. Link's just synchros without tuners. You know what I mean?
Get this one. This one lets you pendulum summon any number of monsters with levels between the two markers on your pendulum scales, but if a pendulum monster would go to the graveyard, it goes to the face-up extra deck and can be pendulum summoned to any extra monster zone you control. Thankfully, these are mostly defunct. We only get one good pendulum deck every few years. Yeah. There's been much more time spent complaining about these cards than there ever has been playing with them.
Kill the Yu-Gi-Oh boomer in your head.
I think these endless videos about where Yu-Gi-Oh went wrong are easy to disprove. Attendance at Yu-Gi-Oh events has been increasing every year since 2011. Simulators like Duel Links and Master Duel are both extremely popular and extremely lucrative. Yu-Gi-Oh's in a renaissance of cultural impact with merch, cards, and cereal sold at big box stores nationwide after a decade of...
Bro, what do you mean kill the... No. Chat, am I... No, be serious. Press 1 if Cap is the old man who all he does is complain. I don't think I am. I would say that if I was the old man who, like, I wouldn't have went to Pasadena. Like, I play the game. Now, do I complain sometimes? Yeah. But I'm not like the Act Man. I'm just at 1.5. Okay, that's fine. But I'm not like this game's so bad, I'll never play. Like, even though I make videos, like, chat, I told you, I'm going to 3 YCSs. I'm planning on going to 3 YCSs by May. Now, one of them I'm just, gonna fuck around with. I don't really care at all. But the other two, like, I don't really care in the grand scheme of topping Philly, but if I top, like, that'd be cool. You know what I mean? Did you listen? No, because was I not? Last format was unplayable. That's the yes, I will become that that whiny bitch chat, but that I only become that level when the format is like unplayable. If we get a tier 0 format once every 3 years, chat, then once every 3 years, that's the cap G you're gonna get. When we get to a format that high where it's just like one deck out of 50 is good, yeah, you're gonna get the petulant complaining cap G. But most of the time, I'm just gonna be like fairly mad. I'm like, all right, this format might have some problem cards, but I can deal with it. You know, cap hates Yu-Gi-Oh! Confirmed. True.
Drought. But that doesn't do much about the people who think, that's all well and good, but I can feel deep in my bones that something is wrong with this. Well, here's the good news. You don't have to worry about Purpley Armageddon. The bad news is the slow, plodding, suboptimal Yu-Gi-Oh! You remember from your childhood never existed anywhere outside the playground. But if you still want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That way, you do have options. If you appreciate the game of inches from back when Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just a Magic the Gathering ripoff, there's a large community of duelists and a large depository of decks on goatformat.com that chronicles the stuff that people were playing back in 05. If you want to play the cool combo style or archetypal gameplay Yu-Gi-Oh! Is famous for, but don't want to jump into the deep end of
this is also the notion I don't like. I don't like this idea, chat, that just like Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just 3 formats before Art V. Like we went from Edison, we went from GOAT to Edison, and everything in between was just like terrible and unplayable. Like it's just such a Zoomer take. Like there were so many good formats. Retro Yu-Gi-Oh! Is having a renaissance. It's either GOAT. Press 1 if it's either GOAT format or tier. Those are the only 2 formats that were good. Either tier, the Shizu tier format, or GOAT. Everything else was terrible.
Pendulums and links. Check out Edison format.
Nobody plays anything but why? Why? Tell me though. Tell me why. And dude, I swear to goodness, if you say because those were the only good, that's so ignorant. Go ask someone. What I always say, chat, is don't ask people who didn't actually play then. Go ask someone like Billy Brake, Jeff Jones, Joe Garrett. These are people who played the entire time. Ask them, like, were those formats terrible? Like, no, this format's awesome. What do you mean? That's what they're going to say.
Another enormous online community. And if you want
like people, you can say people only play GOAT and Edison, but like, why? I told you, I love March 2012, chat. That format's awesome. It's not
experience
no one plays
all
it,
modern
like
Yu-Gi-Oh! Has to offer, but don't want to spend more than a few bucks on it? Check out Common Charity, with all the complex rules interaction and onboard puzzles characteristic of how we play the TCG, with nothing but commons. Warning to the Act Man, Predaplant actually is quite good in this format. And if you want to be able to practice on your own with...
I think you have to understand that this video isn't made for Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, but to pop off in the algorithm, but he keeps it as basic. No. Okay. Chat, I don't disagree with what MBT is saying, by the way. Let me just put that in perspective in case he sees this or in case you guys send it to him. I agree with the overall points, and I agree that Joseph structured it right. I just as someone who values the accuracy of history, I just take exception on some of the inaccuracies of what he's saying. But overall, it's fine. That's what I'm saying. No one queues up for March 2000. Is that Edison? I think that's
judgment.
Edison, right?
Check out Master Duel or a free simulator like Omega. In the past 5 years, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has massively evolved, not just from a gameplay perspective, but also from a community one. It's become so much bigger, so much more inclusive, and so much less like a boys' club for schlubby dudes that could afford a Dark Arm Dragon than it was in 2008. And I'd hate for someone to see a video like the Act Man's and think that there isn't a place for them in this honestly amazing community. As a final note, the Act Man concludes his video by lamenting how changes to what's considered a level meant that he couldn't play his favorite deck, Nurse Burn FTK. So don't treat his opinions about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like they have any weight. He was never really playing it anyway.
It's a good way to end the video, by the way. The Act Man Yu-Gi-Oh! I just want to see how popular his video was. Why was Yu-Gi-Oh! So awesome, and what happened to it? It's not as long as I thought it would be. thought it'd be like an hour and a half. Edison is... Oh, wow, 1,000 bits? Nice. Being cynical here, I like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Yu-Gi Boomers getting called out. Okay, let me what's it called? Thank you for the bits, that man 666. I appreciate that support very much. So let me differentiate here, chat. The two type of things. I think that there are like two different boomers, right? There's a boomer like myself or John. By the way, chat. John Moore actually said like this same thing on Twitter. He was saying, so John Moore argued when MBT said that Gladiator Beast was like the first successful archetype, John was like, Six Samurai, I want a shonen jump with it. What? I think that there are boomers like that, chat, who look at MBT's video. We're not saying like the video's fine, video's great. I'm just looking at the little small things like that I consider inaccurate. Now, does that make me bad guy, chat? Press 1 if Cap, shut up, you're a bad guy because of that. You know what I mean? There are just boomers like that. And then there's also like the boomers like the Act Man, people who, again, they played this game when they were 5 years old, and they're like, why isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! Still like the show? I'm not that, chat. Like, I'm not, you don't hear me say, you may hear me occasionally say like, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was better back in the day. But I'm also not saying that like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs to go back to being set to pass. You know, do I wish the game was slower? Yeah, I do. Hold on, I'm trying to think of like a format that I wish maybe we could kind of go back to like that speed or I mean, honestly, Zodiac format sounds really good. Even if it was tier 0-ish, like it was a lot slower, at least damage wise. Man, I gotta be honest. I liked April of last year. That format was dope. Hat. I mean, yeah, that'd be fine. Link Monsters, Ruin, Nurseburn, Copium. Anyways, we all learned something tonight, chat. No movie night. Oh, I'm never gonna have movie night. Because those are the formats the community have collectively decided to play, says Avarice. I mean, I can't dispute that. I just think the idea that if you want to say, hey, you should play those formats because they're popular, agree. But if you want to say that those are the only formats that were like good, like super disagree. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Had tons of great formats. They weren't all good, but there were tons of great formats. What are we looking at? Did you see the sales number of the new Pokemon game? So what, Scarlet's, and damn, I see why Nintendo won't start milking this game.
Oh, Aleve, have you forgotten
There's
that the
no way
amazing
this is
power
accurate,
of money
right?
can do anything? Money makes life happy.
That's right. Thanks,
How
Rye.
to get a quick laugh. Indulge Yuga Boomer's demands for old days cards. Play Yada versus their playground deck where Dark Magician is their top card. Laugh like a deranged maniac. Profit.
Thank you very much, Ryle, guys. Thank you for the donation. I'll read it in 1 second. I also think, so chat, like one of the things that MBT, like one of the aspects that I think maybe he has that I don't, or perspective, I think I should say. One of the perspectives that MBT has that I just don't, is that like Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just Magic Light during DM or during the early years, right? Like if you look at GOAT format, I guess he would say it's slow, you don't do combos, it's just Magic. But like, I've never played Magic, chat, so like I don't have that perspective. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the game that raised me. So I don't look at GOAT format and say, oh, this is just shitty Magic. Like I look at it like, no, this is just a really slow format that requires a lot of skill, and you're not gonna just jump on someone from the gate. You're not gonna mount people turn one. Like I don't have that perspective because I don't play Magic. I don't know which parts are like Magic and which aren't, so I can't relate on that level. Exactly, like I can't relate to it. I've never compared Yu-Gi-Oh! To Magic, chat, because like, well, other than just being card games, because I've never played Magic. I don't play the game. You know what I mean?